Guys, welcome to Social Domination. Social Domination is all about building a fantastic lifestyle. And it came about for me years ago when I realized that my life wasn't where I wanted it to be. I'd started to get better with women. I was getting some results, but the problems were that my only social circle was other PUAs. I didn't have any female friends, and I didn't really have a normal life. It was kind of weird because I'd just go out sarging and picking up women all the time, and I never really had these regular friends and female friends and these things that most people would have. Something else that was a problem was that I didn't really have the connections, and I wasn't going to great places, so I didn't have access to the most beautiful women at the time. And I decided in one day that this was just strange. It wasn't what I wanted out of life, and that I needed to make a change. And then I started doing things differently. And it's been a few years, and basically within the first month I got things sorted, and it's improved since then. But very quickly I had a social circle of cool guys that I enjoyed spending time with. They weren't pick-up guys, they were just regular cool dudes. They'd never been geeky, they'd always been cool guys, and hot female friends that I went out with, that I met for coffee, that would introduce me to other girls, and things really took off and were a lot better since then. So it's a massive change in my life, and what we're going to look at now is social dominance, lifestyle engineering, and all of these things that I think are really, really important. I'm going to distill it down to the most important elements and give you a really easy, step-by-step, practical guide to social domination. The first thing I'm going to talk about is building a social circle. This is incredibly important. You wouldn't believe how easy it is to get women if, for example, you're with a bunch of cool people, they're introducing you to hot women, and then you've got female friends as well, and they're introducing you to hot women. When you've got a situation like that, it takes away the cold approach. It takes away the worry on the girl's side that you might be, someone that she couldn't trust. She'll immediately trust you just because you've got that introduction. When she sees that your friends are cool, she knows that you can't be faking it. She doesn't have to worry that you're putting on an act. She can just look at your friends and say, his friends are cool, he's got these female friends, he must be a cool guy. So it makes this so much easier to game. A lot of times I've had crazy things happen where, female friends have basically delivered girls to me and just put them on a plate. They've literally brought them round to my house, and the girls have wanted to have sex from, right away, just because of the introduction. There's very little to do. If a girl is introduced to you and you're given a great introduction, the female friend says that you're a fantastic guy, you hardly have to do anything. You just need to escalate. So I'm going to go into some detail on some of the elements of building a social circle. The first thing that I think is very important is finding role models. I've had two very strong role models through the years. The first one was a guy called Steve. I wrote about him in my book. He's someone that really taught me tons and tons and tons about game. He was a few years older, and he'd been picking up women since a very young age. He was very comfortable in clubs, very confident, and to this day still remains the best pickup artist that I've ever seen in action. So he's got incredible game. I spent time with him and I learned a lot. I didn't tell him to teach me. I just spent time with him, and I'd say things like, surely you can't touch a girl that quickly. And he'd say, of course I can. I do what I like. She's going to like it. And every time I'd kind of have an objection, or I'd say one of my limiting beliefs, I'd find out what his empowering belief was, how he could act, the way he wanted. And really, spending time with him was a huge thing that moved my game forward. More recently, there's a role model called Alex. Alex is someone that I spend tons of time with. We talk like every day. We're very, very good friends. Anytime I go out, Alex will be with me, and we make a kind of perfect pickup double act. But also, he's got tons of qualities that years ago would have been, just way out of my, out of my skill set. He can be incredibly entertaining. He's very socially calibrated. He's got amazing social intelligence. He can get in with pretty much anyone. So how do you get some role models in your life? The first thing is a bit of a mindset shift. I'd like you to imagine going into a room like I did back in the day when I met Steve, and I was in a room of 40 PUA dudes that had met from a forum. And you could go into that room and you could look around and you could try and find guys on your level, and you could talk to guys, and you could find a guy like, yeah, I've been in the game for 6 weeks as well. Oh yeah, I've just read that and that and that as well. Oh cool, we're similar, we should go out together. And you could do that. And that might be okay, but in a lot of ways you could do better. That might be a mistake. So I went in that room and I looked around and I found the guys that were the coolest dudes in there. I happened to approach probably the only guys in there that had both slept with over 100 women. I didn't ask anyone else. I just looked around the room and I found the guys that looked the coolest. They looked like they had game. They looked like they had qualities that I didn't. I approached those guys and I was incredibly nice. You have to think about this. If you're not as cool as them, why would they want to hang out with you? So I saw those guys. I wanted to hang out with them, and I had to make it happen. So I met Steve, and he didn't have internet. So I said, come and use the internet at my house. I said, have you been to this student night? It's really good. There's hot girls there. He said he hadn't. I was like, oh, I'll take you. Let's go on Tuesday. I basically gamed him almost like I game a girl, just with the view of hanging out with him and having this guy around me that I could learn so much from. So do whatever it takes. Buy them drinks, look after them, buy them dinner, whatever you need to do. If someone emailed me and they said, Richard, I'd love to just ask you a couple of questions. Where's your favorite place to eat? I'll buy you lunch. That might work, but a guy emailing me and saying, oh, let's go for a drink, be good to see you, it might not, So in that case, I realized that I had to make a big effort, because these guys, they had women in their lives, they could get women, they had, cool people around them already. And for me to kind of break in there, I had to be quite extreme in how nice I was. And it's fine to be beta in that situation. So getting role models is incredibly important. And once you identify someone that might be good, and you need to think about the mindset I had at the time. I wanted to hang around with people that totally outclassed me, because I knew it would bring me up and make me better. And if you have that mindset, then you can start to do the same. Second part of the social circle is male friends. This was something I didn't have. I only hung around with PUA guys. Things changed one night where I went out, and it was that day where I'd said, if things aren't right, I'm just not normal. Why don't I have normal male friends that don't just go picking up women, and that have female friends and that have normal lives? And why don't I have female friends? So I went out and I wanted to make it happen. I went to a nightclub that night, and I looked around, and there was this guy. I was talking to a hot girl, and this annoying guy came over and he tried to get in the way, and I was like, I was going to AMOG him and do all the standard pickup stuff. But then I thought about it for a second. I was like, hang on, this guy is friends with the hot girls. He must be a cool dude. He's going out and he's got hot women with him. So I decided to give him a chance and chat to him. And we actually invited him and the girls back to our house for some more drinks after the club closed. He became my very, very good friend, Alex. Also that night, I looked around the room, and there was a guy that was with a bunch of women, and it turned out that he was a club promoter. And again, instead of just trying to steal his women, I made friends with that guy, and he was another good friend and connection. So in one night, I actually made 2 very good friends and connections, and instead of just getting a number or having sex with a random girl or whatever, I did something that's dramatically improved my life. So when you want to think about male friends, look around the room and look at the guys that are cool. Look at the guys that have something that you'd like, that have hot women with them, that you think could wing you well, because you think you could introduce them, they'd be able to hold their own, and make an effort to meet these guys and make friends with them. It's happened so many times that I've been out and there's been another guy that's looked like he's got some game, and we've kind of shared a knowing look, and we've kind of winged each other on two girls, and it's allowed us both to kind of get the result. And then from there, you're going to hang out more, and you're going to see them again. So male friends are very important, but probably not as interesting to you guys as female friends. I'd done thousands of approaches. I don't know how many, but I'd done thousands. And all I had to show for it, like I said, were these pickup guys that I went out with and a few ex-girlfriends that I'd kept in touch with. So meeting thousands of strangers, and I don't have a social circle, and I don't have any female friends. Really weird. That night, I met a girl that became a good friend of mine, and she's still my friend to this day. In the month that followed that day when I decided to do things differently, I made a bunch of female friends that I'm still friends with to this day, that have got me laid tons of times, that I've gone out with tons of times, and it was a huge factor in making my life better. And all it took was a subtle shift. When you go in the club, you can have a Terminator vision. You can look at the girl and you can say, I want to sleep with her. And you could go and talk to her, and maybe you start talking to her and then you're not attracted to her anymore. Maybe you see that, she's got something less attractive when you get close. She's a little bit fat or whatever it is you don't like, and you're slightly put off. Or you start talking to her and she's got a boyfriend. Or you start talking to her and, for some reason she's not attracted, and you just realise that you can't seduce her in that moment. Most guys would leave and say, okay, well, I can't achieve my mission. What I started doing was meeting girls and being more generally sociable and talking to more women. And anytime I met a girl that I got on with, or that was fun, or that was cool, or that had hot female friends, or pretty much, any girl that I wanted to approach, I didn't just think, oh, let me sleep with them. I also started thinking, maybe I can be friends with these girls and see them again. So it's pretty similar to pick up, but it's actually much easier. It's much easier to make a female friend than to sleep with a girl. So go out, talk to women, and instead of trying to seduce them, just say, well, listen, you guys are really fun. We should all go out sometime. You girls are so cool. Girls want male friends. They want male friends for a variety of reasons. They want male friends because they can give them everything that a boyfriend could, minus the stress. So you can have the sexual tension, the banter, the attraction there, but you've also got a guy that can be relied on, a guy that in a club can look after him. If there's some guy trying to grab their arse or whatever, he's there to look after him. If someone spikes their drink, he's going to be there to look after him. He'll make sure they get home safely. He'll make sure that, everything goes smoothly. So women want male friends. They want the male energy around them. Just like you might be watching this right now and you might think it would be nice to, just hang out with a girl. It might be nice just to go for a coffee or spend, a few hours with a group of hot women. Of course it is. It's nice to be around that female energy. Women have spent time getting ready to go out. They've been with their friends, talking to their friends, and they miss that male energy. That's why they're friends with gay dudes. But it's better to be friends, with a straight dude for a woman, because he's obviously got more of that masculine energy, and there's also a little bit of edge there, because there could be some sexual tension or whatever under the surface, which makes it more interesting. So it's actually really appealing to women to have male friends, and it's a very easy thing to do, to go out, find some girls that are fun, and instead of trying to bang them, or leave and making it really binary, talk to a girl and make friends with her. I can guarantee that if you had 5 female friends, you won't have a problem getting laid, as long as you can escalate, because you'll be introduced to women all the time. Every time you go out, they'll be with a different friend. You will be introduced and you will immediately be accepted by that female friend. You can much more easily game her, but you could also make friends with her and just expand the circle. It got to the point where I remember one night out, I brought 36 girls to the club, all on my own, where I'd just been meeting all these girls, and I said one day, I just texted all of them, and they all turned up to a nightclub together. So, I was in this great situation where all the women in the club see all these women coming up to me, hugging me, how you doing, good to see you, fighting for my attention, trying to spend time with me. And it was all done because I wasn't just trying to have sex with him. So it's a real shift in your game. And if you're going to approach 1,000 sets and all you have to show for it is, a certain number of lays, certain number of kisses, and some ex-girlfriends, it's not as good as having just 5 female friends that are going to be your good friends. Spending time with women is something that will aid your pickup. The best situation to game from is one where you've been spending time with women all day and you just feel that female energy, you're relaxed around hot women, you get an insight into their psychology. You'll see that they get nervous about dates. You'll see that they talk about men, and they worry about running out of stuff to say, and about how they look, and they've got all the same insecurities. So it's something that really humanizes things and stops you falling into the trap of some PUAs where you start seeing women as alien life forms and real objects. So take a different approach, and I can guarantee it's going to help you in tons and tons of ways, but it's very easy to do. So that's the social circle stuff. Now we're going to go into something that is really the secret sauce, I guess, of the lifestyle stuff, because obviously not many people do this. So you're getting the real insider information. This took me ages to learn, and even in the PUA community, I don't really know many guys that are able to do this stuff. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about getting access to the high-end lifestyles, the high-end social circles, and of course the most beautiful women. If you're in New York or London and it's Fashion Week, or you're in Milan and it's Fashion Week, there will be a party where the hottest models go to and the celebrities go to. There will be an after party at someone's house where they go to. Are you there? How do you get there? That's the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about. So let's get right into it. There's a few ways to get access to these social circles, and the first one is the staff. So let's take a look at you. Let's say you're living in a city and you're going to a bar that you can just walk into. You don't need a guest list or anything like that, and you want to start going to somewhere better. First step is to find somewhere that is just the lowest end of these kind of guest list clubs. So what you want to do is you want to find the Facebook group and you want to try and get on the guest list, or you want to call up and say, your friend from another city said that when you're in town you had to check out this place, can you put them on the guest list? Whatever it takes to just get on the guest list of this lower end club. You can bribe your way in, you can do many things, but generally it'll be pretty easy by calling up, using Facebook groups, search for VIP guest list, search for the club name, and you will find a group that has the events coming up and that allows you to get on the guest list for them. So it's pretty easy to get on the guest list. Then you turn up, you come early, soon after the club opens, you dress smartly, you're very polite, you don't bring a bunch of guys, you either come on your own, or if possible you try and come with women, or at most one guy that looks pretty good, that looks the part. You're going to pay to get in, but you're going to get in. Once you're inside, you can start your work. So in the club, you're going to see a few things. There's going to be rich guys spending money, there's going to be girls, and there's going to be the staff. One person that is working that night that you want to get in with is the club promoter. He is going to be easy to spot because you're going to have these tables in the clubs with drinks, and he's going to be at one, but he's probably going to be a young guy. He's not going to look very rich, but he's going to be surrounded by tons of women. It's easily told from the rich guys that are in the club because they're there and they've got champagne and everything like that, but there's just a couple of rich guys with no women, so you can easily tell that they're not promoters. The promoter literally has 10, 20, 30 women around him and no guys, maybe one or two of his friends, and they don't look rich. So those are the guys you want to see. Here's what you do. You go up to them and you say, "Are you a promoter?" And they say yes. You say, "Oh cool, well I was going to come back next week and a bunch of my hot female friends want to come out. Can I put them on your guest list?" Promoters will always say yes to this because they actually get paid for bringing girls to the club.
They get a fee for each girl that they bring to the club.
And it's a tough business. You know, they have to spend all week sending text messages and talking to women to try and get them to the club. And if someone's offering them something like this, it's like offering them free money. So you're going to get his number or business card, and then when next week rolls around, you're going to have access to the club on his guest list. But before then, all you need to do is find 2, 3, 4, 5 women that you can take. You could go to a crappy bar that night, approach 4 women, chat to them, and then go up to, say to them, where you headed later? Why don't you come and check out this club with me? It's quite easy to round up a few women to come out with you when you're doing it in a friendly way, not a pickup way, and just trying to take them to this club. So you want to get in with a promoter, and then one way to move up the levels is to see what other clubs and what other nights he promotes. Normally, the lowest level promoter will promote a slightly better place on and off night, or a guy might promote 2 good nights and 1 less good night. There's so many nights to promote. Sometimes the less popular or less fashionable clubs will pay more, so the promoters are happy to work there as well. So he's going to have some access just generally, so he's a good friend to have, but he might also promote a better club on another night of the week. So getting in with the promoters is fantastic. You can roll into the club with them. The girls you bring that you invite out are getting free entry and free drinks, so it's a great way to get a girl to see you again when you close her on that. And this guy, again, is going to be really happy with you because you're bringing women into the club and you're getting him money. In the past, you might look at that guy with all the girls and you might try and figure out how to steal his girls. What's going to happen is you're going to get in with him and you're going to share his girls because he's got way too many. So that's something that is actually really easy to do. The next way to start getting access and moving up is to look for the money. So I told you how to spot the rich guys. They're drinking champagne, there's a couple of guys, they're standing around, they're on their own, they look rich. They're pretty easy to see around the club. They're on a table. They've paid a minimum of $500, $1,000, whatever it might be for this table, and they're spending money to look good. Go up to this guy, the rich guy, give him a compliment. You like his suit, you like his watch, cool shoes, man, whatever you like. He's going to think, what's this gay dude? Why is he being so friendly to me? You're not going to tell him right then, but he's going to play along, and then you're going to say, okay, well, nice to meet you. I'm Richard. What's your name? Okay, Mark. Great to meet you, Mark. Listen, I'm with some female friends. I'll come and introduce them to you later. Then you're going to go around the club and you're going to game women. And then you're going to say something to a group of women. You're going to say, listen, my friend Mark's over there, and I'm a bit worried about him. He's ordered way too many drinks, and I think he's going to get totally drunk. So, can you come and help us drink him? By the way, he's super, super rich, but he's actually a nice guy. He's got all the Ferrari and all that stuff, but he's actually a really cool guy. I think you're gonna like him. He's not one of these arrogant rich guys. So you're gonna give him a nice DHV intro before you've even got there. Then you're gonna come over and you're gonna say, Mark, meet my friends. This is Sarah, Michelle, and Jenny. Guys, this is Mark. Super cool guy. Such a nice guy. You're gonna introduce him and let him talk. And he should offer the girls a drink. If he doesn't, you can say, hey mate, is it alright to pour the girls a drink? And he should say yes. What he's going to see is he's going to see that these beautiful women, hopefully, but they're, attractive women, and they're coming over and they've got a big smile on their face, and they're kind of coming over to him, so it's making it really easy for him. They've been DHV introed by you once you've already got in with the group, and so they're going to give him the time of day. They're going to talk to him. If he did a cold approach, that probably wouldn't happen. So at this moment, he's in a really great situation. For you, what you get is you get to bring girls to a table and give them drinks and give them, and kind of solidify your relationship with them. You don't have to take them to the bar and buy drinks, and they're not going to run off back to a promoter or to another table because you're taking them to one. The next step is to find out where he lives. Hopefully he's got a suite in a hotel, or hopefully he's got a big house. And you want to say, hey mate, shall we get the girls back to your place for an after party? and then you do what it takes to get these girls back. In most cases, because you've got, you're sociable and you're doing this pickup thing, and he's not, he's just kind of standing there not knowing what to do. Because of that, you're probably going to be the one that is better socially. So you're going to be the one that holds things together, and you're going to have your choice of the girls. You can go back to his house, you can have a party, and hopefully you can sleep with one of the girls in one of his 20 spare bedrooms. Next time he wants to go out, does he want to go out with you? Yes. So you want to say, what are you up to later in the week? And he's going to say, oh, I'm going out on Thursday and Friday. Definitely come out with us. We're going to go here and there, blah, blah, blah. When you go out with him again, you're rolling into the club with a rich guy. The club manager will come over and spend time with this guy to make sure he's happy. People will, really look after him. All of the staff will look after him. During the week, you can be talking to women and saying, listen, my friend's got a table at this club. Come out with us. It's going to be really cool. And then you're going to ask him, do you mind if I bring a few girls? Of course he's going to love it. That's why he's in the club spending money and showing off anyway, because he wants women to come over to him, but they're just not going to do it, and he's got too much ego or not enough game to do the approach himself. So you're going to connect him with the girls. You're offering the girls free drinks, free entry and a table. You're offering the guy women, so you're giving everyone what they want. You're now in with a rich guy, so never mind that it's got great networking possibilities and all that. Just think about how cool it is to to go out and have the VIP treatment and live like a millionaire, but without spending a penny. So that's how you get in with the rich guys. The girls I've briefly touched upon. When I was talking about the female social circle, that's how you get in with a group of women. They need to trust you, feel safe around you, and feel like you'll look after them. When you're in the club, you're offering girls free entry, free drinks, a table with rich guys or a table with a promoter, and you're really offering them tons of stuff if they come out with you. A lot of promoters can be sleazy and can just try and hit on the girls all the time. A lot of rich guys can be sleazy and try and hit on the girls all the time. But the girls still want their free drinks, their champagne and stuff, and free entry, so they put up with it. If you're there and you're kind of looking after them in a respectful way, then you become the social hub and the person that they need around. And you get to the point where girls start texting you. And, any weekend I've got this going on, girls texting you, what are you up to tonight? Do you want to come out? You come in here. Where are you going? We'll come with you. All of this stuff, because they have a much more fun night when they're with you than when they're just with these guys on their own and they just don't really trust them. So you move up the levels by going to this first club and finding the people that go to the better one and go in there with them. It's a rich guy, it's a girl, it's the promoters. You go up to the next level. In that place, you've got people that go to the next level and so forth. When you get to the very top, you're then at the point where these people are going to a multi-million-dollar house afterwards for an after party. They go into really, really exclusive membership clubs that, there is no guest list. You have to be a member or you have to be a known face to get in. You're going to these amazing pre-parties, clubs and after parties. A lot of the guys actually even get these free dinners because they bring beautiful girls to restaurants and they get free dinners there. So you can do that. So in a nutshell, I wanted to include that as social domination is some real, practical advice for building a social circle and going out there and having access to the best places. And that's really how it's done. I tried to do it in the most distilled, practical way. And you can set yourself a mission tonight to go out and make some female friends, some contacts of girls that you can see again, that you can invite out. I'll be back more with this lifestyle stuff in the future, but guys, I hope you love it, and any thoughts, email me, gambler@PUA Training. It's always good to hear. Cheers, guys.